The Mandalorian himself, Pedro Pascal, is back.
He's back!
Well, he might not be back for that long, as this news might be hinting at the death of Din Djarin. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie has just begun filming, and this movie might be the first time we see Din Djarin's face since 2020, when we got one of the most iconic scenes in all of Star Wars, Luke Skywalker's return to save the day. Now, with this news that just broke about Pedro Pascal possibly being on the set of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie later this year, and the news from a few weeks ago about secret scenes being filmed for this movie, it sounds like the pieces are coming together for us to get an appearance of the legendary bounty hunter Din Djarin. But what does that mean for this character? Is he going to die? Will the Mandalorian and Grogu movie really be the end of Din Djarin's arc? And how is Pedro Pascal going to be able to film anything with his busy schedule? Well, I'm going to answer all those questions because this is great news.
Wow!
Kinda good news if Pedro Pascal is coming back to film on The Mandalorian, but the character of Din Djarin might just be dying, so it's not that great of news. So let's start with the news that just broke, as many fans were concerned that Pedro Pascal wouldn't even be on the set or involved at all in the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie because he's such a busy guy. Sure, he would come over to do some voiceover work because now he just seems to be a voiceover character, but many fans love seeing Din Djarin's face. But with Pedro Pascal's crazy busy schedule in the year of 2024, it seems like he hasn't had any time to focus on Star Wars. From filming Gladiator 2, The Last of Us Season 2, and now The Fantastic Four, he's been quite the busy guy. And currently, The Mandalorian and Grogu movie and The Fantastic Four are filming at the same time. And Pedro Pascal is the main character in both movies. Sadly for Star Wars fans, in The Mandalorian Season 3, it was established that Din Djarin is no longer able to take his helmet off.
This is the way.
This is the way.
So Pedro is most likely going to focus on being Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four movie, because there he can show his face. But this news just dropped from The Hollywood Reporter because Pedro Pascal was up for another role. And the reason explained in this report as to why Pedro couldn't do this other role, because his schedule is, quote, packed until the end of the year with the Fantastic Four and the Mandalorian shoots, meaning he will be on the set for both projects and be shooting scenes for both projects. And this will likely take him all the way till the end of the year. Now you might be saying,
Mike, that could just mean he's coming over to work on the Mandalorian movie by just doing voiceover work.
well, I don't think that's the case for two reasons. One, it says the Mandalorian shoots, and that means shooting a scene. Doing voiceover work would be a completely different thing. But the second reason is Pedro Pascal is one of the hottest actors in Hollywood right now. And with this Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out in May of 2026, Lucasfilm is going to need all the help they can get to advertise this movie. And with Pedro Pascal backing it up because he's actually in the movie, it would help this film make billions upon billions of dollars. And let's be honest, fans have been begging for Pedro Pascal's return as Din Djarin in the flesh for years now. And that also brings us to the next bit of news. Just a few weeks ago, there was reports that the Mandalorian and Grogu movie had secret scenes filmed months ago. And many people were speculating that those scenes were Din Djarin scenes because Pedro Pascal's extremely busy schedule. He had time to do this after filming wrapped on The Last of Us Season 2 and before filming started for The Fantastic Four. There was a small open window to get Pedro Pascal to come in and do some work for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie in secret so that fans wouldn't know that Din Djarin's face will return. This is not the first time that Lucasfilm has filmed stuff in secret. One of the most known examples of this was Luke Skywalker's return in The Mandalorian Season 2, the last time we saw Din Djarin's face. To film this scene of Luke's return, they had a very limited cast, so that nothing would be leaked out that Luke would be returning in The Mandalorian Season 2. Something very similar might be going on with this Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Maybe it's Din Djarin's face return, as Pedro Pascal is quite a busy guy, or maybe it's something even crazier. Only time will tell. But because the way The Mandalorian Season 3 went, it seems very clear that Din Djarin cannot take off his helmet. So if these reports are true, and Pedro Pascal will be showing his face in the upcoming Mando and Grogu movie, does that mean that Din Djarin is going to die?
No. It's not true. That's impossible!
Well, again, I think this leaves us with two options. The first one being the Mandalorians have completely thrown out the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
In the third season of The Mandalorian, we see all these different Mandos come together to take back their home world of Mandalore from Moff Gideon in the Empire, uniting the Mandalorians that don't take off their helmets and the ones that do. Both groups have different Kree when it comes to the Mandalorian way, but because they are now united as one Mandalorian people on the home world of Mandalore, is the way going to go away? Will we get to see Din Djarin taking on and off his helmet whenever he wants? And finally get to see the armorer's face as well. I actually think this first option is probably less likely, as Season 3 clearly emphasized that Din Djarin should not be taking off his mask. It's the whole reason he went back to Mandalore, was to go bathe in the waters, and I don't think he's going to be turning back now. But that brings me to my second option. Din Djarin's death. Now before you say,
Mike, there's no way they're gonna kill off Din Djarin. The Mandalorian is their most popular Disney Plus series. He's the main character. There's no way they would kill him off.
hear me out, because this Mandalorian and Grogu movie might just be the beginning of a new Star Wars trilogy, and Din Djarin's death might just be the catalyst to creating an Avengers-type team to unite behind the death of Din Djarin. We've spent 3 seasons and now an upcoming movie with this character of Din Djarin. That's 24 episodes and an entire movie. Is it possible that that's going to be it for Din Djarin's character? Could he be serving a greater purpose like an Obi-Wan type character, where Obi-Wan makes the ultimate sacrifice in A New Hope to further Luke's development? Could we see something similar happening in this Mandalorian and Grogu movie, where Din Djarin makes the ultimate sacrifice to further Grogu's development? Now granted, Din Djarin can't come back as a Force ghost like Obi-Wan did to help Grogu fulfill his training, but is it possible that Din Djarin could die in this first Mandalorian movie, as Dave Filoni is set to direct his own Mandoverse movie, and this whole thing could be a possible trilogy that begins with Din Djarin's death and all of his friends that he's made along the way, from Boba Fett to Bo-Katan to Ahsoka Tano to Luke Skywalker to Fennec Shand to Cobb Vanth and more, coming together behind the one simple fact that Din Djarin sacrificed his life for something greater, the possible fight against the heir to the Empire, Grand Admiral Thrawn. And that would make the first 3 seasons of The Mandalorian and Din Djarin's arc even better, as we saw him make all of these friends and allies throughout the first 3 seasons of that series, and all of those heroes and anti-heroes coming together to fight against one greater threat, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Is it possible that Pedro Pascal will be showing his face for the first time in 6 years as Din Djarin? And will it be the end of that character, having Din's death be the catalyst for all these different characters coming together to fight one big threat? Tell me what you think in the comment section below, and did you know there was already a Mandalorian and Grogu teaser trailer? It was released 2 weeks ago at D23, but not publicly. However, I broke down the entire trailer frame by frame in this video right here.